Good morning. We're gonna just give it a few minutes and let people continue to log on. Once it looks like that has slowed down, then we'll go ahead and get started with today's webinar. All right, that looks great. It's 11 o'clock and we can go ahead and get started. I want to say good morning and welcome to a very special edition of the Florida Friendly Landscaping Webinar Series. Today's webinar is Backyard Birds and Beyond. The backyard is a gateway to birding and more. And Travis Blunden will be providing this webinar today for us. And Travis works for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission as the coordinator of the Wings Over Florida. Prior to this, he held other positions within the land management section of FWC. He received his master's degree in wildlife ecology from the University of Florida in 2010. Travis lives in Tallahassee. He's an experienced naturalist and enjoys being outside and sharing the natural world with others, especially his young daughter. And I'd like to give you just a little housekeeping. As always, your microphones have been muted, but you can put any questions you have in the chat box or the Q&A, and we'll take those at the end of the webinar today. And I'll also be putting some very important links in the chat box, so keep your eye open for those. And with that, I want to go ahead and turn over today's webinar to Travis to talk about backyard birding. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, thanks for showing up today. Again, my name is Travis Blunden and I work with Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, or FWC, if you're into using acronyms. We are. And today I'm going to talk to you about exploring backyard wildlife and how it links into our natural areas, and a little guide on how to do it. So here I'm just going to touch on a few topics. These are not proportional. Some of them are a little longer than others. But first, why does my yard matter? What wildlife needs? A little planning help, some digital tools to help you. And then I'll touch on some of our FWC programs, such as Wings Over Florida and the Great Florida Birding and Wildlife Trail, and just explain those for you. So to start off with, I know this is a Florida Friendly Landscaping webinar, and so obviously some of you are familiar with the 9 principles shared by the Florida Friendly Landscaping. Today, I'm going to look in at number 5, mostly attracting wildlife. And really, I would call it not attracting wildlife, but supporting wildlife in your yard. And it's we're going to get into why that's important. And obviously, a few of these other principles definitely tie into it, but that's going to be our main focus today. Okay, so first off, I wanted to talk about why our backyards actually matter. And here's just a few really fun or interesting facts, and they're not all fun necessarily. 80% of the land east of the Mississippi River is privately held. So of that, urban and residential acreage have increased at twice the rate of population growth since 1947. So as our population grows, the amount of residential acreage has more than doubled what the growth is. So urban areas now occupy 70 million acres, and rural residential occupies 106 million acres as of 2013. So that's even a bit dated. And so, so just to put all that, that's a lot of area. And so any one yard is relatively insignificant, but collectively, they're going to constitute a considerable amount of land in our country. And a lot of our species can't support on islands of conservation areas. They need that matrix in between them. And a lot of that matrix is our yards. And so not every yard is going to be the same. Not every yard will support the same amount, the same types of wildlife, but we all should be doing what we can to encourage wildlife to make our homes their homes. Not our houses, but our yards anyway. So to start off with, what does wildlife need? Well, just like humans, they have basic needs. Of course, they include food, water, cover, or shelter is another term for that, and then space to raise their young. And so I want to stop before I get too far and just warn you that my talk is somewhat bird centric, and that's not because birds are better than all the other wildlife or superior in some way. It's mostly just because of all of the wildlife that we find in our backyards, birds are easily observed. They're seen during the day. They move around a lot. They don't, some hide, but a lot of them are out in the open showing themselves. They're actually, a lot of them are brightly colored. So a lot of our examples are going to be birds, but they're kind of the placeholder for all the other species that we don't see that require these same things. So just note that when I talk about birds and all my examples of birds, don't think I'm only focusing on birds. It's more of a holistic approach. So food, water, cover, and space. So food is the first one. So I'll do a quick pop quiz. I have two graphics here. I don't really want an answer from you guys. It's rhetorical. But which of these is the best way to feed wildlife in your yard or birds? And the answer is planting a tree rather than feeding them at a bird feeder. So it may surprise some people because you think, well, giving them food directly is obviously going to be the better way. But really, birds will only going to use a small percent of their diet will consist of like bird seed that you give them. In fact, only a certain portion of birds eat bird seed. So the best way that we can supply food for our wildlife is by planting plants in our yard, and specifically native plants. The number and the diversity of trees and shrubs and grasses in your yard will directly correlate with the diversity of wildlife you get. So in general, the insects that we have evolved with our native plants. So they know how to feed them on them. They have adapted. So plants, it's a constant battle. Plants are always trying to outwit insects by creating toxins and different strategies to keep their predators off, which are mostly insects. But the natives have usually worked around these defenses and can use it. Well, when we bring in non-natives, our insects are not as able to use those. In fact, they use them at a much, much lower rate. And so there's fewer insects, which is great when they're ornamentals. We want that. But really for wildlife, they can be kind of food deserts. So, and like I said, you may wonder why we focus a lot on insects. And that's because insects are the foundation of the food web. You know, caterpillars are one of the more important ones, especially for birds, because they're very abundant at certain times of the year. They're soft, they're very energy-packed food that they can use for rearing young and feeding young. So yeah, it's the whole food web. We need some way. The plants are capturing the energy from the sun, and there are some herbivores out there, but most of our wildlife eat other animals or insects. And so the insects, especially herbivorous insects, are the main way that energy is transferred up the food chain. And one of the concepts that I like to introduce is the idea of keystone plants. And so I told you that native plants support and host more insects and other arthropods than non-natives do. But the truth is that 14% of our native species account for around 90% of the caterpillar food. So all natives are not created equally. Certain ones are more prone to being used by our native insects and produce a lot more biomass that can go up the food chain. So I put a few examples here, and there will be some resources, and there's a link to an IFAS document that has a list of Florida keystone plants, and the zone they're using is mainly the peninsula of Florida for that. But oaks are by far the trees with the most caterpillars. Oaks in Florida host nearly 400 different species of caterpillars. And nationwide, it's closer to 1,000, but here in Florida, it's around 400. Plums and cherries, the genus Prunus is also a very good one, and they're listed in descending order. So the top ones are the top plants or families of plants. Shrubs, willows are great. Blackberries, blueberries, saltbush, there's a host more. And then perennials, some of our weeds, goldenrods, sunflowers, even ragweed is a good one for certain insects. And so to illustrate this point, people have studied black-capped chickadees, which we don't have here in Florida, but we have their close relative, the Carolina chickadees, in most of the state. So they monitored their nests for the entire time they had chicks in the nest, which is about 16 days. They fed their during that 16-day window, the parents fed their young 6,000 to 9,000 caterpillars. That depends on the number, and that the number varies because of the nest size or clutch sizes are not always the same. So they're feeding hundreds of caterpillars every day to these guys, and also chickadees do not range far from their nest site, especially when they're feeding young, because they have to keep going back and forth constantly. So they're only spreading out a few hundred meters at most from their nest site. So what does that mean? That means you need a high density of insects, especially caterpillars, near their nest if you want to have a lot of chickadees around. And so that's one thing that non-natives just can't provide, is that high density of insects for them. For example, to bring it home a little bit, this spring in my yard, which I have a little over half-acre yard, I've been able to enjoy a bluebird, a tufted titmice, and 2 different chickadee nests in nest boxes simultaneously in my yard, as well as cardinals and mockingbirds and shrubs. And now the bluebirds, I have 2 bluebird nests on second clutches and great crested flycatchers with chicks. So it's really fun to watch all these. And it's also comforting to know that my neighborhood, not my yard necessarily, because these birds are obviously ranging far beyond the boundaries of my property, but my neighborhood has a lot of good native trees, a lot of oaks, pines, a mixture of things. Also, and so I know that these birds are able to find enough food, and they're able, to raise young and be successful with these nests. I have one more slide about nests, but with birds in nest boxes. This is just to show, this is a great crested flycatcher bringing in insects to their food, and they are feeding constantly from dawn till dusk. Depending on the number of chicks, each bug they bring in feeds 1 chick for that moment, and they'll be hungry again very soon. So they're constantly flying back and forth with insects. Sometimes you can see what they are. Sometimes they're very small and you can't tell. And so part of this slide is just because I had this great picture of the flycatcher carrying an insect into its nest. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about food right now. Obviously, there's way more to cover on it, but we'll get into some tools where you can learn more later. So water is, of course, essential for life here. And the neat thing about water is it can be one of the easiest things for you to do in your yard. It can also be the most difficult thing you do in your yard. It just depends on which path you take with it. A simple bird bath is great. You see the brown thrasher in the picture really enjoying a bath, but they use it for cleaning and for bathing. If you take a bird bath or some kind of container and put it at ground level, it will actually open it up to a lot more animals other than birds that can reach it then. And sometimes you can even recess them into the ground a little bit to give access to even the smallest of animals. So that's an easy place to start. Now you could take it a lot further if you wanted to. You could put in a water feature or a frog pond or something with moving water and pumps and different things. And that brings it to a whole nother level. And that's where it becomes maybe the most difficult thing you're going to do in your yard. And I will give a quick reminder that if stagnant water breeds mosquitoes, and while we do like wildlife and we like insects, mosquitoes are not usually the ones we're trying to promote in our yards. So you should change it every few days. Or there's other ways to prevent them by keeping movement on the water. You can get little vibrating things or a dripper or a little pump that circulates the water. The movement on the surface will keep the mosquitoes out of it. And that's all I'm going to say about water, although it is very important. Like I said, it's quite simple. So cover is the next one. And just to talk really quick about bird and even bat houses, we've been talking about houses already. So we have a lot of birds in our residential areas that are cavity nesters. And so the best thing to provide them cover would be what? To leave dead trees. That's what they normally would do. Some of them are primary nesters, meaning they dig their own cavities into dead trees. Some are secondary, meaning they just reuse cavities that other birds have made. But either way, the the linkages, they need soft wood and dead wood to do that. Well, of course, in our urban neighborhoods now, not many people leave dead trees. And sometimes we can't leave dead trees if they're over a public area where they could be dangerous. We often will take them down. And there are some ways around it. Sometimes you can just take the top of the tree off and leave the trunk that is much less dangerous for a falling hazard and leave that. But in the event, in most of our areas, we are snag deficient, meaning there's not enough dead trees to host all the plants or all the cavity nesting birds. So we can build bird boxes, and different birds use different size boxes, different size entrance holes. They like them positioned in different areas. There's a whole lot of nuance to that. A good resource for that is Project Nest Watch, and they have a lot of information about the boxes themselves. You can enter monitoring reports on the nest and share with biologists, how many birds and what species are nesting in your area. But it's a great resource. And you see in the picture, there's I should explain what the birds are. Those are eastern bluebirds on the left, great crested flycatchers on the right, and on the top or in the center, and the top right is a Carolina chickadee, and then there's just an image of a bat box. So there's also, in terms of, we're going to stay with our bird focus here, many of our songbirds do not use boxes or cavities. They use shrubs, treetops, or some even make nests in hanging Spanish moss or on top of branches. So remember, it's good to keep a diversity of plants in your yard to accommodate for all those other types of nesters. Brush piles are another great way that you can provide cover for wildlife in your yard. And this is not really for birds. This would be for your smaller animals. But it's a great way of reusing some yard waste, or maybe your neighbor's yard waste, or wherever you can find it. But the key is to put some larger branches down first, crisscross, to make kind of cavities underneath it, and then put the smaller things on top of it. That way there's some openings and voids in the middle where animals can hide and find shelter. It's a great way to encourage wildlife in your yard. It gives them cover from predators, also places to stay safe for nocturnal animals during the day. And even if you don't do a brush pile, leaving a single log in your yard to decompose away from your house can support a lot of insects, toads, snakes, skinks, that kind of spiders, that kind of thing, which are all important in the food chain. So here's an often overlooked way that you can help wildlife in your yard, is to, what we say, leave the leaves. The majority of caterpillars in a tree don't pupate in the tree. They actually drop to the ground and they pupate either in the soil. Sometimes they burrow into the dirt. Sometimes they attach to a leaf on the ground or a branch on the ground. So when we remove all of the leaves, we're doing a few things. We're removing the soft landing zone for these caterpillars. They often will just drop out of the trees. They're not going to climb down. So we've removed their padding and also their cover and camouflage that they need to survive. In fact, a lot of them attach to dead leaves, or they attach to a leaf in the tree and then it falls to the ground. And that's where their pupae will spend the winter months, and then they'll emerge in the spring. So in the fall, if you rake all the leaves in your yard and put them in bags and send them to the landfill, you've actually removed a lot of the insects that live in your yard. And you've also gotten rid of cover for other insects that don't need them to survive, but need the cover. So it's a good idea to leave leaves. You can designate areas of your yard, especially underneath the trees where maybe they've shaded the grass so grass doesn't grow well. It's great if you could just leave them there. All right, so the last one is space. And of course, everything needs space, and it's kind of abstract. But obviously, your yard is a fixed size, and you're probably not going to be making it larger, or without a lot of effort of moving and finding different. So our space may only be a patio. It may only be a really small, 1/10 of an acre lot, or you may have a large backyard. But so you just got to remember that your yard is probably only going to support a fixed number of songbirds. Maybe you could have one nest from a couple different songbirds. That would be great. Sometimes you can increase the densities or the occurrence of birds by increasing the densities of food. So obviously, the more you do to encourage insects and give them cover and all the things they need, if they can find that in a smaller area, you may fit more of them into a smaller place. Okay, and on the subject of space, um, one way you can provide a more variety of spaces is to structure the backyard, is to vary the structure. So you see the picture on the upper left, it says less species. That yard looks like a palm tree and a few shrubs around the house, and everything else is lawn. So, and the picture on the right has a variety of trees, shrubs, different things in the yard to break it up. So they're going to be providing more niches and habitat for different species. So they're going to have a more diverse yard in terms of plants and wildlife. Another example would be a yard with a dense canopy of trees. If it's all trees and there's nothing growing underneath them because no sun reaches the ground, there will be birds there and there will be wildlife there for sure. But if you have a mix of open areas, canopied areas, some shrubs in some areas, open grass or ground covers in another area, you're going to provide for a wider diversity of species. So yeah, you need that different areas for them to live, not just food. And then there's a few other things we can consider for wildlife in our yard that maybe don't fall into any one of those four categories or somewhat abstractly. The first one, and is just now in the last few years being talked about a lot more, and that's the issue of light pollution. Especially in our residential areas, there's a lot of outdoor lights at night. And these lights distract and disorient moths that would normally use the moon to cue what's up and what's down. Well, you have lights everywhere, and that's why they circle lights, is they cannot figure out what is up and what is down. So they're very disoriented. And that is keeping them from doing what they should be doing, which is finding food, finding mates, laying eggs, and carrying on. So if you can, and also another negative effect of lights is that most of our songbirds migrate during the night, in fact, and they're flying. And some of these lights can disorient them. And also it lights reflections in windows and glass panes are a major cause of building strikes, especially in urban areas where there's a lot of glass and reflections. So it's very simple. If you can turn out your lights, you can avoid that. And if you can't turn off a light, or if it's simply you're not able to or allowed to, the warmer the temperature, the more yellow the light, the less it will distract them. So those new LEDs with the bright blue lights are really bad for wildlife. So if you can at all help it, don't put those in your outside fixtures. And here's another one. I know this probably resonates with Florida Friendly Landscape people. But using pesticides in your yard is very counterproductive to what we're trying to do, which is encouraging insects in the food web in your yard. So obviously, you're spraying toxins and poisons. It's going to kill your target animals and probably a lot of other beneficial ones. And not only that, the ones that survive, or sometimes the songbirds or lizards, anything in your yard will find them before they are dead and eat them. And then those toxins are now moving up into the food chain and poisoning the rest of our wildlife. So yeah, use them very sporadically, or if you can, not at all in your yard. And I know that was really fast. That's all I'm going to talk about for now about bringing wildlife into the yard. The rest of the time, I want to talk about some different tools, both online tools and written things that can help you identify and figure out what's in your yard. So the first one is a book. It's called Planting a Refuge for Wildlife. It was written through FWC and the Fish and Wildlife Foundation of Florida. It's been out for a while, so some of the graphics look a little dated, but it's actually a pretty good reference book for what you can do for wildlife in your yard. In fact, a lot of what I have already talked about, plus a whole lot more, is found in this book. So it includes general information such as how to increase species diversity, using natives versus non-natives, planning resources for planning out how you're going to use your yard, It also has really neat things like a chart of Florida birds, which tells you what part of the state they're found in, what their nest type is, what they eat, all kinds of things like that. It has nest box dimensions for building nest boxes for 12 different nesting birds in Florida. It also has a native plant chart, which kind of goes through and outlines the characteristics of a lot of our plants in Florida and where the plant them, what zone, because obviously South Florida is quite different from the Panhandle, and they have different plants, and it does separate them by region, which is really useful. And I could go on, we could talk about this book for a long time. At the end, we'll have a link in the chat that will where you can order it. I believe it costs $5, including shipping, to be sent to your house. So it's really affordable, and I believe some of our extension agents and other places have them, and you might be able to pick them up for free, but I don't have an extensive list of where those places are. So now I'm going to switch a little bit more and talk about digital tools that you can use in your yard and elsewhere too. These are not yard specific tools to help you find, identify, and keep track of wildlife. So here's the 4 that I'm going to hit on today. It's eBird, iNaturalist, Merlin, and Seek. And so these tools are amazing. And some of them, I mean, even just a few years ago, what they can do was unthinkable. And these tools are getting more and more powerful and making it easier and easier for people to identify and access wildlife. So eBird is the first one. Probably most people have heard of eBird. It's been around the longest. Since I think the late 90s or early 2000s, so 20 some years, has 100 million bird sightings contributed annually, and it's growing in 20% year over year for quite a few years now. And so it is a huge project. There are billions of observations recorded in eBird. It's easily the largest participatory science project in the world right now. And they've made it really easy. You can get an app on your phone. You can do it online to enter observations. All you need to do is write down where you were, what time it was, and what you saw, and it'll keep track of it for you. So I know everyone here is going to say, well, I'm not really a birder, and so I don't want to mess with eBird. And so I understand you, but if you look at birds or you feed birds in your yard, I have to tell you a secret that you are actually a birder by most definitions. So maybe you're not a hardcore birder, but most of us probably here are some form of a birder. So eBird, even if you're not using it extensively, it keeps track of all the birds you've put in there, and you can sort it by like Florida birds or your county birds, or you can even make a spot in your yard and keep track of your yard birds. And I've been doing that for a few years at my house, and I just hit 71 species this last week. And I can just go in there and click on my location and see what I've seen. And it gives me a complete list of what's been seen in my yard. And of course, 71 birds were not always hanging out in my yard at any one time. This is ones flying over, migration, and things moving through. The biggest thing is being able to look for them and identify them. But the other thing you can do is that you can look around your neighborhood and nearby areas, and you can see what's around and what's been seen, and know what you might have in your yard, which is a great thing to know, because you have to start somewhere. If you really don't know much about birds and birding, this next one called Merlin is probably the one you're going to want to download first on your phone. It's an app only. It was launched in 2014, and its main purpose is just to answer one simple question, and it's, what is that bird? And so they've done there's a number of ways that they help do that. They have a step-by-step ID, and I'll briefly touch on these: a photo ID, a sound ID, and then you can just explore nearby birds. That one's not really a tool, but just a way to look around what's nearby. So the step-by-step ID, I have a short video, but it takes way too long. Maybe I'll try and play it while I'm talking and see if it gets done. But basically, you just answer a couple of questions about, because it's not one to play anyway. You answer when and where you were, which if you took the picture on your phone, or if you, it automatically will default to the location you're at in the current time. You answer what size it was, what colors was it. You can just select up to 3 different colors. And what was it doing? Was it in a tree? Was it on a feeder? Was it soaring in the air? And it will generate a list of probable birds for you. And you can click on any one of those and explore what they sound like, what they look like, see multiple photos of them, and see range maps. There's also the photo ID, where you can select a photo from your photo library on your phone, or you can take a photo and you select it, you zoom in on the bird. There is a video playing here, so we'll walk it through. So zoom in so it fills the frame, hit next. It should get the location and time from the photo if it was taken on your phone and you have done it. This one didn't have the location embedded. It did have the date. So I went back through and put that it was in Tallahassee. And then I just click identify. And it gives me a list of likely birds. The top one is always the most likely one, and that is exactly what it is, a northern parula. And if you click on that or tap on it, you can read about the birds, you can see the range, you can listen to its song, so you can figure out if that is actually the bird that you were looking at. So it's a great tool to do that. But the real exciting one that was just introduced a couple of years ago is the sound ID feature. And you can activate this and it just listens. And as it sits there and listens, each time a bird calls or sings, it will pop up in the list. You see, I have a screenshot of a list here. And those are the order that it hears them. And each time it hears it again, it flashes that bird in yellow. So you know which one is calling, is making what noises. And just like anything else, if I tap on that bird, it'll bring me to a page where I can explore their sounds, their calls, their songs, also their range map and photos of them. Really exciting, makes it incredibly easy to identify birds in your yard. Learning birds by their call is something that birders have been doing for a long time. And normally it takes years and years of listening to birds, figuring out what the bird is, committing that to memory, and repeating that over and over. And it's really a difficult task to learn what birds sound like and how to ID by sound, which is a great tool because not all birds are easily seen. But with Merlin, it's taken that whole thing and put it in a little tool in your pocket, which is quite amazing. The final part of Merlin that I want to say is just explore. You can go through and explore birds, and this is sorted for Tallahassee, Florida on the day that I took the screenshot was a few weeks ago. And it starts with, I have it sorted so the most likely ones or the most viewed ones are first. And I forgot to say, the data for Merlin is coming from eBird. It's created by Cornell Lab of Ornithology, just like eBird. So it's using the data for frequency of observations from eBird and what's around you. And it's getting all of that from people who are contributing to eBird. So it's kind of a full circle that people putting their observations at eBird are helping other people figure out what to see, what's around you. It's a really great app. It's called Merlin. Again, highly encourage everyone to put that on their phone and give it a test whirl. So those were both just bird tools, and that's great. But obviously, there's a lot more to our yards than birds. So the next couple things I'm going to talk about are more inclusive of all living things. So the first one's iNaturalist. iNaturalist is used for all living things, plants, animals, fungi, you name it. You can ID it, hopefully. And for this case, usually you use photos or sounds of an organism. You upload it. iNaturalist has computer learning. It can identify many things down to species. Some things not down to species, but down to maybe a genus or family. So you upload it, you save it, and the observations, this is where it's a little different than Merlin. These are actually reviewed by other users, some of them experts, who will help you confirm the ID, or in the case of some things, they'll get you as close as they can. So if you take a picture of a black beetle, you sometimes can get it down to a family or a genus, but certain insects and things are not you can't ID them down to species without dissecting them or using a microscope sometimes. So they'll get you as close as they can. But it's a great tool. It why didn't that work? That's interesting. But I'll just there was a picture of a butterfly and an iNaturalist making the ID on it. Um, but it takes your observations and puts an ID. And so one of the neat things was it keeps track of all your observations. You can create projects and you can join projects. And projects are just ways of filtering the data. Like we have projects for our wildlife management areas. So any observation taken within the area will get put on a list. So you can see a list of all the observations in a particular area. Well, you can actually set one up just for your yard. This is a map of my neighborhood, and my yard's in the center of all those dots. So those are all my observations, and I can see how many species I've seen, how many insects, how many spiders, how many birds have been documented in my area. And a quick tip, if you do this, draw the area bigger than your yard, because sometimes our phone's location accuracies aren't really precise. And so you may have taken the observation in your yard, but if it shows it just a little too far away, the project won't pick it up. But it's a great tool. And it's the same as Merlin. You can click on the species and you can see a description about it. You see my latest observations are down here on the ground, and you can read about the different animals and plants that you've seen. Another neat feature is when it's an invasive exotic or an exotic animal, it puts a little note on there in bright pink to let you know that, hey, this is not native to your area. And if it's great if you're trying to identify some of the plants in your yard. And the last tool, digital tool I want to talk about is called Seek, and it's Seek by iNaturalist. It's from the same organization. It uses the data from users to identify like what's around or what's probably around you. But the difference is it's kind of designed for children, and it provides an easy, intuitive, and fun way to learn about organisms around us. So because it was intended for children, there's no login required, although you can use your iNaturalist login for it. You can earn badges and medals for seeing, 10 plants or 10 different flowers or the number of birds. And they also issue challenges periodically, like, okay, this month we're going to try and see, and it'll give you a challenge. So it kind of makes it a little fun for kids. And I have a secret is that a lot of adults really like it too. In fact, my wife, I can't hardly get her to use iNaturalist, but she pulls out Seek all of the time. The neat thing about this, as opposed to iNaturalist, is iNaturalist, you take a photo or a series of photos and submit it, whereas Seek, you're doing it in real time, and it actually will ask you when your camera's on to move your camera around the organism if possible, especially for plants and slow moving insects, and capturing different angles, and it will keep narrowing down the ID until it gets as good as it can go as you move it around. So obviously, sometimes you need to see multiple attributes of something before it can be ID'd, and it's great because it kind of encourages. It'll tell you to keep moving it around, get more angles. And in the end, you can upload your observations to iNaturalist if you use your iNaturalist login, which is a little better at keeping track of things. It also, when you put it to iNaturalist, it makes that data available for researchers and people studying organisms to find out all kinds of information about range and occurrence data. So I would greatly encourage you to put Seek on your phone. And if you want to go a step further, move up to iNaturalist as well. All right, so I'm going to transition a little bit now, and I'm just going to hit a couple of programs that we have within the FWC that tie into your backyard and wildlife, at least a little bit. So Wings Over Florida, as she said in the intro, this is a program that I run. It is a way for people to be recognized for their wildlife viewing achievements. And when I say wildlife viewing, it's specific wildlife. It's birds or butterflies. We send out certificates as you hit different milestones of bird or butterfly species. Birders call these life lists, or Florida life lists, because it's just birds within Florida. So it's just the number of species that you have seen in Florida. So the first one's when you hit 25, and then 50, 100, and it moves on up from there. So each time you get to a new level, you go to our website and let us know, and we will send you a certificate with your name printed on it to commemorate it. We also do that for butterflies, which obviously the totals are a little less. There's not as many butterfly species in Florida, and some of them are much more difficult to identify than birds. But if you want to learn more, our web address is wingsoverflorida.org, and you can read a little bit more. You can download bird and butterfly checklists there, and figure out a little bit, and also apply at that website. All right, the final thing I'm going to talk about for this is the Great Florida Birding and Wildlife Trail. So maybe you're ready to venture out of your backyard, or you've seen all the birds you're likely to see for a while in your yard, but you maybe want to see a few more, or ones that don't occur as easily in yards. Now it's time to check out the Great Florida Birding and Wildlife Trail. So the birding trail was created to identify good places for people to view wildlife and to help people, both residents and visitors, find these locations. So you've probably seen the brown signs like the one on this slide along roads somewhere in the state. When you see that sign, that means there is a location at whichever direction the arrow is pointing that has been identified from the birding trail as a great spot for wildlife viewing. And it can be birds, it can be other wildlife as well. Our partners include, it's not just FWC lands, it is state parks, national parks, state forests, national forests, wildlife management areas, water management district lands, as well as local government parks and preserves, and even nonprofits and private businesses. So it's a great collection. The nice thing about the birding trail is we pull them all into one location on our website, so you can browse and you don't have to jump from web page to web page or guidebook to guidebook to see the different things in an area. Whereas if you were looking on each of the managing agencies pages, you have a state forest here and next to it's a state park, but of course they don't talk about each other on their web pages. So it's great to have something that kind of bridges that. The birding trail is organized into 4 regions across the state. There are currently over 500 sites statewide, but each region is separated up, and we also offer printed guides for each of these regions that can be ordered from the FWC website, and they are free. So I would encourage you, if you're interested, grab one for whatever part of the state you live in or wherever you want to visit, and you can kind of browse it and see what's in the area. Also, the birding trail website, floridabirdingtrail.com, is an easy place to go to look at these sites. And the nice thing about each page, each site has its own page. It has a description of the area. It tells you often what kind of viewing is good there, when's a good time to visit. In some cases, it also has a link to the agency that manages the website if you need to find out how much admission is or how to drive in. And we also have a link for directions for finding them. So it's kind of a one-stop shop where you can go and find out about all these areas. So when you get a chance, I'd encourage you to throw that on your browser and maybe bookmark it even. And real quick, I'm just going to review a few of the different resources that I've mentioned. So Planting a Refuge for Wildlife is the book you can purchase for $5. It's a great resource for your yard. We have bird, butterfly, reptile, and amphibian checklist available from FWC. You can order those, they're free. We also have the Great Florida Birding and Wildlife Trail Guides, which are also free and also requested from the FWC website. And we should have a link for that. Either, I don't know if we're gonna put it in the chat or send it out, but one way or another, we'll get you a link for that. There's also a number of different digital resources, and I actually have a few more to put in there, but we have the downloadable checklists, eBird.com, Merlin, iNaturalist, Seek, Wings Over Florida, and the Birding Trail website again. So these are all things that you would access from your computer or your smartphone. And with that, I think I'm done with my talking. We can open it up for questions. I believe there may be some already in the chat.
Travis, that was really informative. I learned a lot, and I'm excited to start, using some of those apps and counting the birds that I like to see in my backyard. So, I do have a few questions, and I'll go ahead and just kind of throw this out to you. The first one I have is, will birds use retention ponds as water sources? And then
Oh,
I'd like to do a follow-up. Is that a good, how do you feel about that?
well, yes, they obviously will. In fact, wading birds are often found in ducks are found in retention ponds. Um, is it a good thing? That's a mixed bag. Um, it just depends on what's in that retention pond in the water. If it's urban and there's a lot of oil and pollutants and pesticides and fertilizers in it, it may not be the greatest thing. There are, but there's a lot of retention ponds that have fairly clean water, and they wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. And that's where we just need people to do their part in keeping those pollutants off the ground because they do end up in our waterways for sure.
Yeah, I know I've seen a few ponds where I'm like, don't go in there, don't go in there. Um, There's some other comments when you were talking about the bird baths and things like that. There's a recommendation that I just wanted to run by you. Change the water at least every 4 days to prevent mosquitoes. When cleaning the bird bath, if brushing is not enough, only use baking soda, never use soap, bleach, or ammonia. Is that something that you would agree with?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to use one of the harsher chemicals, you need to take it down and not immediately refill it to let them dissipate. So yeah, usually if you just get a scrub brush and jets of water is the easiest and best thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I can't say I've never bleached my bird bath, but when you do it, don't put it right back up immediately.
So what would be a good waiting period? Is a day enough, or would you want to wait longer?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not a chemist, but chlorine does dissipate into the air pretty quickly. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. But at the same time, yeah, you don't want a bird to turn your back, have it filled with soaking with bleach and turn your back and a bird come in and try and take a bath in it. So yeah, you do need to be careful. This is their water source and they may be drinking or bathing in it. So you need to keep it as clean as possible.
The next question is, how do you remove a paper wasp nest from a birdhouse without using poison?
Oh, that's a good one. Very carefully. Can I just say that? No. I would. Yeah. There's not a great way. You can use a stick and run, knock it down. You can use a jar. If you go at night, they're going to be all on the nest, and you could try and like slip a jar over it and break it off into a jar. I'm not sure I wholeheartedly recommend that, especially if you're like me and allergic to their stings. You need to be a little more careful. But yeah, that's always tricky if they take up residence in a nest box. But what I probably would do is use a stick and knock it down through the entrance hole, and then come back later when they've abandoned it and clean it out.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. The next one is, do you have any suggestions for supporting bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds?
Sure. I mean, there's a whole chapter on that in planting a refuge, but you want to, plant native plants, plant flowers and things that are going to provide pollen and nectar for them. So even if you're not planting native all the time, if you get into ornamental flowers, some of the hybrids and more modern varieties, they actually don't provide a lot of nectar and pollen. They're focused mainly on just big, showy flowers. So try and find heirloom varieties, things that are open pollinated and need pollination because they're going to be the ones providing more of that. Another thing for a lot of bees is to, when you have wildflowers like purple cone flowers or zinnias, even that are non native, or black eyed Susans, in the deadheading is what gardeners do when they cut the dead blossoms off to promote more flowers. But those stalks are actually important for a lot of insects. They burrow in and overwinter in them. So one good thing is, especially late in the season, is to leave them through the winter. I know they're a little bit ugly, but you actually will be promoting a lot of our bees that will live inside those stalks. So that's where they're going to be. If you cut them off and throw them away, you've just killed that insect. Um, And the other thing that I've found by leaving them is the next spring, oftentimes they've dropped seeds all around it. And I have lots of volunteers of that flower for the next year. And so if I'd cut all the heads off and thrown them away, I wouldn't have those volunteer seeds. So that's another benefit of that.
Wow, that's great to know. And we like to say brown is a color too. So um, okay, here's one. I recently cut down a giant tree and left about a 12-foot trunk for cavity nesting birds. Is there a particular side of the trunk that birds would prefer if I create a cavity facing east, west, etc.?
Um, Usually, if you're building like a nest box, they say it's best to orient them facing east, just so they get morning sun. And it's usually not the direction prevailing storms are blowing in, but that varies depending on where you're at. And in the wild, I see cavities on all different sides, and I don't seem to see a rhyme or reason about it. It may just depend where the soft spot in the tree is, or what it opens up to. So if I had, I would probably choose the east aspect if I had to choose one, but I don't think it's a something that's set in stone.
Would there be a reason to only have one, or could you have a couple nesting cavities in the tree, or would that be too close?
Yeah, it depends on what species move into them,
Mhm.
and how territorial they are for
Okay.
other species. They're definitely not going to let another one of their same species probably in it, but are they going to be, let another bird in there? And there's definitely a pecking order in birds, and usually it's the bigger ones win out. And so, like the chickadee nests in my yard, they only fit chickadees. Like the entrance hole is small enough that none of the other birds can fit in it. Because what usually happens is chickadees will start building in one of the other boxes, and then a bluebird or a titmouse or something that's bigger is going to kick them out and take it over. And so they usually end up in the chickadee box where none of the other birds actually fit into it. So they definitely they do share, but they don't want to be, because if you think about it, if they're eating all the insects around it, they don't necessarily want a bunch of other birds doing the same thing. Um, and that's where the more insects you have, the more nests and cavities, nesting birds you'll be able to support.
That's an excellent explanation. Thank you so much. I learned a lot from that. Um, okay, here's another one. How do you keep Cuban tree frogs from getting in birdhouses and nest boxes? And how do you protect the eggs and hatchlings? Two-part question.
Yeah, I don't know how to prevent Cuban tree frogs from getting in. You can, if you put a nest box on a pole, which is better than on a tree, it's harder for predators to get into it. You can also put a baffle on it, which you see a lot of them on bird feeders. They're either a cone, a cylinder hanging, or a flared cone, and that will discourage things from climbing. It would probably discourage tree frogs from climbing in as well, or at least make it harder. I can't say it would totally keep out a Cuban tree frog. Once a bird has taken up a nest, it will evict a tree frog out of it. So I wouldn't be too worried about tree frogs.
That's good to know. So do you know, are any of the sites have accessibility features for disabilities? Any of those websites and apps that you mentioned?
Um, so the Burning Trail site does, you can, on our trip planner, you can sort by some amenities, but we don't have, that's one of the things we're trying to add right now is accessibility information. I think Lauren, I saw, was putting something in the chat for Birdability, which is a website, an organization that where users upload the accessibility features of different sites for birding locations, which is our parks and preserves. And that would be a great resource to check out. And how good the info is really dependent on how, if there's anyone locally in those areas that have been uploading the information to it. But it's the database of locations that have information is growing very quickly.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. So we're winding down. I've got just a couple more questions if you're doing okay here.
Sure.
The next one is, what can be done when one lives next to a stream and the banks are covered in invasive weeds and vines?
Oh, well, that's a nuanced question. It may depend on what they are. But I would first identify them if you haven't already. And honestly, IFAS is going to be one of your tools, your extension to find out what the best ways for removing those are. Um, if you have time and energy, hand pulling is great. It's probably the least invasive, although it does disturb the soil a little bit. If it's an erosion issue, you may need to cut it and put a little bit of herbicide on the stalk, very careful, or something that's approved for use near water. But it is tricky when you're doing that. And it does talk in Planting a Refuge a little bit about erosion and water in water bodies, on edges of water bodies. So I would check that out, but I don't know if it explicitly goes into the removing exotics from stream banks.
Super, yeah. Lots of people just giving you accolades. Great presentation. Thank you so much. I thought there was another one. Oh, this was it. Do you have any suggestions for birding sites in Florida? And what I took this to mean is like, where's a great place to go to see birds? If I was reading that right.
Yeah, well,
I didn't
there's
think it meant sites like websites. Maybe I'm reading that wrong.
okay. Yeah, well, that's I would check out the Great Florida Birding and Wildlife Trail. Another great tool I mentioned, I didn't go in eBird, can be used for so many different things. But one thing you can do is you can browse the hot spots, which are the places that people submit checklists. Like if you go to a park, there's probably a hot spot for eBird there, but you can click on it and you can see what's seen there. And even when you look at them on a map, they're color coded based on the number of species that have been observed at each of them. So like you could quickly scan the state and pick out the red spots, and that's where the most species have been seen. And you can click and find out what that is, what park that is, or preserve. And that's a great way to just kind of browse and find good places to go. So yeah, there's a number of ways. Other ways are to join like your local Audubon chapters. There are obviously a lot of them will lead trips and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of ways to learn. But eBird is a great tool for figuring out where to go, as well as that's the whole purpose of the Great Florida Birding and Wildlife Trail.
Super. Okay, there's a couple more questions that came in. How bad is the 5G generation antennas involving wildlife?
I haven't heard anything specifically about 5G. I mean, it's just a radio frequency like the many other radio frequencies that we have already going through the air. So I haven't heard or seen any studies that single it out as being negative.
Super. And one more question about the tree frogs. Let's see, how to encourage tree frogs to move into the area off a retention pond. And could you provide more info on building a bat house? And then with this, I think we'll close it out.
All right. Yeah. So for frogs, they need a site to breed, water body. So putting a frog pond in a small area, and different frogs require different types of water. Some will require not having any fish, some don't mind fish. Another thing you can do is put refugia around your yard in areas near trees and things, which can be just like an 1.5 inch PVC pipe or 1 inch sticking into the ground, and they will crawl into that. It keeps it in, it protects them. The biggest threat for a tree frog is drying out and being exposed to predators. So inside those tubes, they find a place where they can stay moist and be safe from most predators. But yeah, they're the frogs and they're going to go where they want. And sometimes they like the retention ponds. There was something else too. What was that?
Oh, and could you provide more information on building a bat house?
Oh, yes. Bat houses are very nuanced in terms of what you have to do to get bats to actually move into them. And I would recommend looking at Bat Conservation International. They're an organization based in Texas, and they have plans and places to get bat boxes. I think their website is batcon.com or .org. I'm not sure, but Bat Conservation International would be a great source for that. I think it addresses them in Planting a Refuge. I'm not sure what it has for plans in building them.
That's fantastic. I know IFAS also has some resources available for
Mhm.
building bat houses. Um, and yeah, and Rebecca Wilcox mentioned Luby Bat Conservancy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
I'll
and
pop
Lauren's been
in.
in the chat throwing links. She just put the BatCon or Bat
Good.
Conservation International links. So
Um, okay. Well, with that, it's 12 o'clock. And Travis, this has been just a wonderful webinar. I've learned a lot. Realized how much I don't know. So it's been very informative, and I look forward to kind of digging into some of the apps and resources that you've provided. And just for everybody else, the webinar is recorded, so you can, visit our website after probably a week or so, and we should have it up on our website where you can rewatch it or share it. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much, Travis, and thank you for everybody who attended.
thanks, everyone.